Hello everyone, I am Cheryl and welcome back to another Consultant Proficiency Resources Moral Leadership Tidbit Coaching. If you're new to the channel, that's great. Thank you very much for joining us and a very hearty welcome from the CPR family. And that's okay because we're new as well. This is our second video for this particular channel. CPR does have a first YouTube channel, Stamping Out Workplace Toxicity. So you can check it out. It's full of animated videos, really presenting the challenges that we have in a toxic workplace. And as a leader, what needs to be done. This channel is dedicated to you, the leader, and not just any leader. Not just a transactional leader or even a transformational leader, and definitely not an autocratic leader. We're looking at pivoting. If you're a current leader and you wish to elevate your leadership style, we are looking at moral and ethical leadership. If you have not seen the intro to CPR LLC Moral Leadership Coaching, please be sure to check it out. I cited a study from 2019 with about 1,100 respondents. And in that study, what it stated that during the 21st century, moral leadership is needed more than ever. And I don't think we need to ask why, because clearly we can see the moral decay of our society, both on a professional and personal level. So CPR does agree with the respondents from that study. Moral leadership very well might be the antidote to resolve many of societal issues. And as a result, we have CPR coaching for moral and ethical leadership. This platform is dedicated if you're a woman entrepreneur, minority-owned entrepreneur, you are on your faith walk and really want to elevate your game, but do it responsibly. Oh, if you graduated from college or you're an aspiring entrepreneur, or even if you're as a young adult and a parent want to give their child an opportunity, their young adult an opportunity to see how it's done right the first time, this is the platform for you. So go ahead, subscribe and hit that alert button so that you'll be notified of all upcoming videos to this channel. So the goal here, we have a winning formula. I call it the antidote to the societal woes that we currently face. And if you're like me on my faith journey, many times I have to turn away contracts if it doesn't meet my ethical standards in terms of what it is I will do for money. If you've asked yourself that question, again, this is the platform for you. I'm going to show you how to elevate your leadership game while still walking and talking in terms of the moral, ethical guidelines that we, and I'm hoping you will join us as well to add to that formula, that you will join us on this journey. So the winning formula is simple, taking the biblical and Torah principles right there in the Bible, okay? Because we're talking about those on their faith walk and want to elevate their game, right? As opposed to run away from the game. Take the moral principles that is laid out beautifully for life woes and combine it with business principles. Luckily for you, not only have earned my business degree, I also went ahead and earned my MBA and postdoctoral training, 4 years under my belt, looking at leadership, creativity, and innovation. Hence the need to combine both for winning formula. This particular program is designed for the busy entrepreneur. So it's going to be no longer than 30 minutes, maybe 15 to 30 minutes in duration. Every week, my staff and I, the goal is to upload a new video, and it's designed to be a building block. So it will be in sequential order. I would recommend you start with the intro. This will be the very first CPR Moral Leadership Module 1 or training number 1. And all upcoming videos will be numbered sequentially. So the goal for you is, if you come 3 weeks, 4 weeks down the line, 10 months down the line, you would start with the intro, then video 1. It is designed to be a building block. If you start with module number 25, before you get into modules 1 to 10, you may get lost in the process, or some people will say lost in the sauce. So we don't want that. It's about taking the time, regardless of when you join us on this wonderful journey. We're hoping that you will refer many of your entrepreneurial friends, many of your women, minority-owned business friends, and any college student that's graduated, aspire to be an entrepreneur, or going into corporate but really want to elevate their game. This is a channel for you. Okay, so now that I have kind of outlined some of the nuggets I gave you in the intro, I want to jump right into today's lesson, where we're going to continue where we left off with the intro. So the intro, if you reviewed it, you would know that there indeed was homework, right? You were required to look at the 10 attributes that we listed, and that included being a visionary, being humble, having integrity, having temperance, which is self-control, be comfortable with risk. It is a business. One of the things we spoke about in the intro is about, if it's a business, you cannot afford to be risk averse. Okay, I recall some years back getting into the field of business. I was risk averse. I was too traditional, and I was not willing to take the risk. And even in investments in my portfolios, my advisor would be saying, you have to be ready to take the risk. And as a business, you have to. Starting this platform is a risk. Starting your business is a risk. So you have to be comfortable with risk. The key point here as a moral or ethical leader is drawing that line. I call it the ethical line, knowing when and where not to cross. Other attributes included inspiring. Inspiring is equivalent to motivating your staff, being selfless, not selfish, being creative and innovative, being intentional about a process, and we conclude with goodness. This by no means exhausts the list for moral ethical leader. This is the first 10 that CPR LLC Moral Leadership Coaching is starting with. And as we continue to build, we will add. And once you stick with us, you will see why. Okay, so there's a lot of madness to all of this, but it works. And that's what you want to get, right? It's a free resource. You follow these modules, it will work. You have to do work, right? Faith without works is dead. So you have to have the faith that you're in a good business. You have the passion and purpose to do what you're called to do. And then if you put in the work, it will work. So starting with the 10 attributes you left off from, I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to share with you what we're going to do from this point on. We're going to definitely consider the concept of SWOT analysis. Now, if you a business degree graduate, or you might have had some business courses, you should be familiar with a SWOT analysis. And if you go down here, it says SWOT analysis is indeed a technique developed at Stanford in the 70s, frequently used in strategic planning. If you're a small business owner, your SWOT analysis should be incorporated in your business plan. And then in corporate, again, as part of your strategy, you want to know what your strengths are, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So it's used in corporate for their strategy. And we all know by now that a strategy could be long-term or short-term. Having said that, what I'm going to do today's exercise is to recreate this matrix looking at your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And we are going to apply it to the 10 attributes that we just highlighted of a moral leader. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing the screen since you know, or at least you have an idea of what we're referring to. And that's okay if you have never been exposed to the SWOT analysis or business. You don't have to. That's why we are here. We're going to do a handhold approach so that you can get this information. I'm going to provide it to you, digestible bites, so you can indeed get the information. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera a little bit to my whiteboard. This is what I use to work through the process for my coaching. At this point in time, I would ask that if you took the recommendation of being in a quiet space when you do these exercises, have a cup of tea or coffee or water handy with you, your pen. You should have a leadership, definitely have a leadership pad. Use this to document, so I would call it your journal. You want to use that to document your reflection. Talking about leadership, any type of leadership, it's a self-reflection process. You have to answer those tough questions. And as in answering those tough questions, this is where you improve and you hone your skills and you develop and grow. And eventually it's about becoming a butterfly. There's an evolution process to it. So we know the stages of a butterfly. Similarly, trying to grow and hone your leadership skills is becoming a butterfly, and you indeed would find your wings. Okay, so that would be my promise to you, to make sure you get there, but you have to promise to do the work. So having said that, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the whiteboard. In my sharing of my document, you saw that matrix. We indicated that a SWOT analysis is a technique used for strategic planning, and I'm going to show you how we can use it for strategic planning as it relates to you as a business. So if you have a whiteboard, if you have paper, you can use your paper, and we're going to get right into it. So the first step is not difficult at all. What we want to do is start with drawing a box. Okay, clearly there are 4 parts to this technique, because we have to find a plot for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So the first step is to try to draw a box. You can look what I'm doing, and afterwards you can pause the video and do the same thing. Once you have a box, you want to draw a vertical line down in half. That way you get 1, 2 quadrants, and then you're going to draw a horizontal line across. So that way you have 4 quadrants, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's very simple. Where you position your strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, or threats, yes, it doesn't matter. So your strengths and opportunities go to the left quadrant, and your weaknesses and your threats go to the right quadrant. So if you're like me, you like to use different colors just so that your information stands out. I do as well. I'm going to go into my red marker. And now I'm going to put strengths, or you could put the letter S. If you're new at it and you're ready and you don't know, I would recommend you write out all the words and refer to it always. So the strengths, opportunities. If this information is not new to you, you can certainly use letters like S.O.T. W, W.T. Then we have the weaknesses here to the right. And then we have threats right here at the bottom. Okay, and then the next step is, because we're building, we're going to use, and I'm going to use myself as an example, and you're going to do the same thing as a self-reflection exercise, preparing you for video number 2. So each of the 10 that I've listed here as 10 attributes we're going to start off with, we are going to place them in one of the boxes. So you're going to talk to yourself and consider, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Be very honest. What are the opportunities? What are considered opportunities when I consider the attributes, and what will be considered a threat if I don't get it fixed? If I don't get these attributes fixed or resolved, where is it a weakness or a threat? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself. So the first one, are you a visionary? If you're an entrepreneur, that's definitely a strength. So I'm going to tell you, put visionary under strengths. Okay, if you are an entrepreneur, or several, you're already a visionary. We should also know that as an entrepreneur, your vision should also be part of your business plan. You should have your mission, your vision, your value statement, and maybe even your motto or your slogan. Okay, but that's where it lies. So put it visionary if you're an entrepreneur. If you're not an entrepreneur, it could be considered a weakness or a threat. Okay, it depends on how you perceive your attributes as it compares to the 10. For humility, again, I'm going to put that as a strength. That's important as a leader. Now, some folks, depending on how you utilize your humility, that could also be a weakness. Because some people, guess what? They take your humility for weakness, right? But if you're able to turn that around, then definitely is a strength as I have it listed here. Does that make sense? Okay, next one is integrity. Having integrity, I'm going to put it on the opportunity and I'm going to change my color. How about that? I'm going to take my brown marker. Integrity, I'm going to put under as opportunity. And here's why I'm saying that. For me, having integrity means going out when I network and I meet different individuals, new clients. Every individual I consider to be a prospective client. Oh, they might be able to refer me to 5, 10, 15, 20 other individuals. During these times, if you're celebrating the holidays, I personally do not, but if you're celebrating the holidays, there are a lot of networking events that's going on. And having a level of integrity may set you apart in those conversations that you're having. So I see it definitely as an opportunity. Then the next one is temperance or self-control. So temperance and self-control, I do have self-control, and I consider that a strength. The goal behind this exercise is that you have to utilize all 10 attributes, and one of the 10 attributes has to go in one of the boxes. Okay, then we're looking at comfortable with risk. Comfortable with risk, I'm going to put here as a weakness. Even though I am a business grad, I was never comfortable with risk. I needed 100% guarantee. And if you're like me, you would know exactly what I'm referring to. So for me, it's still a work in progress. It's not a threat because I'm aware of my weakness and I'm doing something about it. So, like starting this platform, that was a risk, but I took it anyway. So I'm moving. I'm seeing the movements, and for me, it's a weakness that eventually can go into a strength or an opportunity. So comfortable with risk, I'm going to put here. Some people are more risk averse and less risk averse. For me, I'm going to put it as a weakness. Next one is inspiring. Inspiring, for me, I consider that to be a strength. You don't have to use different colors, but sometimes when you look at your board in different colors, it pops. So you can make this any type of color code you desire. It really is up to you. Then the next one is being selfless, not selfish. And selfless, I'm going to use that for me is an opportunity. The reason why I say it is that the more selfless you are, you're thinking more of others. When you think more of others, whether it's your client or your employee, they will remember you forever. And they would certainly tell at least 5 or 10 other people about you. That to me is an opportunity that can lend to other opportunities, which is equivalent to revenue. You got it. So for me, I'm going to put here selfless as an opportunity. And being creative and innovative. Me being creative and innovative. Innovative is a threat. I'm going to put it here. If I don't do anything about training, etc., I'm going to use this as a threat if I don't do anything about it. In 21st century, it's all about technology. And personally, I'm kind of sick and tired of technology. However, it's a necessary evil, as some people would say. And I'm aware of it, right? But I put it as a threat, and I even will put an asterisk next to it because I need to up my game. Okay, creativity, I would use it as an opportunity to be a business owner. There's a level of creativity that's involved. I am, and I'm getting more and more creative. So I'll see that as a opportunity. Being intentional. I would also include here as a strength. And goodness, empathy, sympathy, the whole 9 yards. I would use that as an opportunity as well. It links to being selfless. If you're able to put yourself in that person's shoe, your client's shoe, why the person is late, why employee is late as a single mom, what's going on. If you were able to put yourself in that person's position, you would have a strong employee, a better connection with your clients. Some industries are very small. The small business industry in itself is very small, and word can spread like wildfire. So, just having empathy and sympathy really will take you a long way. So, I think that's a level of opportunity for me. Okay. And the way this works is again, I just shared with you my rationale as to why I place certain things where. You may not be where I am, or you might be more advanced, right? You may have all 10 attributes lined up with strengths and weaknesses. If that's the case, we will have to identify additional 10. And when you do, you can do another SWOT analysis. Your challenge, if you already have all your strengths and weaknesses, all 10 here, is that you want to convert your opportunity into a strength. This is equivalent to revenue. If you have weaknesses and threats, the goal is to have that transition from weakness into strength, threats into opportunities, that can morph into strengths. Okay, so we can move around. You by no means committed to where you are, where you started off. Just to give you an idea, as you did a deep dive, supposedly based on your reflection, if you did a deep dive, this showcases exactly the discussion that you should have with yourself that will allow you to plot these qualitative attributes within the matrix. And I would recommend the first of your work week. My work week starts on a Sunday. CPR is open from Sunday to Friday midday. Um, and there'll be work tomorrow while most celebrate Thanksgiving. And then we can resume Saturday night but Sunday is the first day of the week for us. And once a week, I would recommend as part of your moral leadership development, before you start anything off, you go to your SWOT analysis based on your moral leadership attributes that you identified, and you look at it, allow it to marinate, and every week you should be working towards changing the flow of things. If you have 8 threats, you should be working every day to go bring the threats into an opportunity, then a strength. If you have weaknesses, the same thing. You should be crossing over weaknesses to opportunities to strengths. Okay. And until really all of the buckets, you're comfortable with all of the buckets as a strength. At that point in time, you can see how those attributes are being used to help with your revenue. So we're going to stop there for the SWOT analysis as it deals with your leadership attributes. I hope it was helpful to you. I enjoyed going through the exercise. To me, it's very helpful. And I would like to conclude because, again, we're looking at and we're considering combining biblical principles with business principles. The business principles we're looking at right here, starting with the moral leadership attributes, and we're going to continue to build from there. But again, it's faith without works. Understanding, having the faith that this will work would help you develop into a moral, ethical leader, but you have to apply the works. That's very important. I would also recommend that you review the blog. I do have a blog on CPRLC, and this week I had a blog looking at moral leadership practices. And what I did do is link the moral leadership practices, the business application with biblical Torah principles. So for each action that's a practice of a moral leader, I linked it to the moral ethical principles that's found in the Torah, in the Bible. And the goal is to always have that front and center in making your decisions. That's why the caveat for this particular program is someone who's interested in enhancing their faith walk and building and becoming a better leader. And if you have leadership experience, but it was more ineffective and you executed transactional leadership or autocratic leadership, but you desire to become more transformational, moving into moral and ethical leadership, then this platform is here for you as well. You just do the exercise. And because this is based on um, biblical principles, I always end my session with scripture reading. And that should allow you that should bring you comfort in knowing that in today's world, we still do believe in terms of the book says. And the conclusion of the session, we're going to end with the book of James, chapter 2. And I love this passage because it really talks about faith without works, right? And while you could read all of chapter 2, I'm just going to focus on verse 18, which I love is very powerful. So, book of James, chapter 2, verse 18 reads, Yea, a man may say, Thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works. Simple and to the point, and that's the idea, family. The goal is the purpose and passion that was bestowed upon you, that was given to you. That purpose and passion can clearly become that revenue generating business that you desire. However, it's about building your leadership platform, emboldening you, and you can do so because of these business principles found right here in the Bible. So, and as we move forward, you're going to see exactly what that looks like when you have to make a decision and execute decisions. Understanding that in this world, there's so many things that come at you. So it's important to stay grounded, understand what I stated before, what that ethical line is, and make a decision not to cross it. A good example I'll share with you before concluding. I had a possible contract to work with someone who I thought was an herbalist gardener, and to find out that this person was in pursuit of owning kind of marijuana joint. Again, I know the herb itself can be used for medicinal purposes, so this is not a shot at anyone. However, understanding it was more of a social launch area that goes against my principles, my ethical and moral standards. And I had to turn away from a possible lucrative contract just because that's what's going up in almost every town, every city, especially urban area. You have a lot of those launches going up, and it's in every corner. So therefore, you definitely have a population audience gearing towards that. So there's volume, therefore there's profit. But would that profit me ultimately? No. I've made a moral decision not to pursue that contract. That was my ethical stance that I took. And in business, we have to make those decisions. I would just say, once you know what those decisions are, it just makes it more clearly. So again, the first video for Consultant Proficiency Resources, Moral Leadership Coaching Tidbit, making sure it's under 30 minutes, is applying your attributes to the SWOT analysis. And I recommend that you pause when you need to pause and do the exercise. By the time you meet again, you should have reflected from intro 1, and then you should have completed this exercise. If you don't do the works, you're not going to grow and evolve into that moral, ethical leader that I know it's in you. Okay, so I look forward to you joining me again. Thank you so much for your undivided attention. And as always, stay well. So long now.